before I was king, I had not had any knowledge that I would be one day become a king of a nation. Well, what was in my mind was I've never made a speech in front of a big gathering, so that was the big thing, that I am going to make a speech. I just hope I will speak bravely. Of course, there were a lot of bubbles in my stomach about all this. Of course, this is something completely different. I was no longer in school. Now I was coming back to become a king.
Although my experience is short and I'm new to this task, I have in my predecessors an example I can follow with sanctity and confidence. I will work to strengthen the bonds of friendship that already exist between this kingdom and the international community. God bless you all.
Which is still trying to improve many things. Here in the country, there are many problems, economical, social, political. There are many challenges. We have to work together as a nation and to confront them. We can only succeed if we are all of us together. But if that one pulls that direction and that one pulls that direction, the problems will overcome us instead of us overcoming the problem.
We begin in the tiny southern African kingdom of Swaziland. Here, the king is the head of the land. Some of the problems he faces today began long before his time. His father banned the country's first constitution and political parties in 1973. The kingdom has since been ruled by decree, and it's had a parliament with no real power. The demand for reform grew in the 80s, and by the time King Mswati III ascended the throne, it had reached what some call a boiling point. Dissent continues to grow. Political parties remain banned, and they've not been invited to recent dialogues. King Mswati recently met to discuss a draft constitution as a way out of the crisis. Now, Swazis insist that they are proud to be a kingdom, so the task at hand is to find a way to make the monarchy work while the rights of the people are respected. King Mswati III has said he likes to think of himself as someone who's trying to reach that balance. He rejects criticism that he rules with an iron fist.
When my father passed away, and that was the time when I was informed that I will now be the king. First, I was very young. I was about 12 and a half years old. My father, in his time, the country was not under entirely his control with the British. We then regained our independence in 1968.
King Sobhuza is the benevolent but absolute monarch of Swaziland. In much of Africa, traditional life has become an embarrassment. Your social status is based on how well you can ape a European. In Swaziland, the traditions are sanctified.
There has been so much turmoil in Africa over the past 25 years or so. Well, how come? How do you account for it?
I think that's due to the contact with the white man. He has brought his own custom and his own environment, with the result that we are beginning to lose ours, what is good for Africa. I want to keep, but what's bad for Africa, we won't keep.
Of course, you know, he also preached people to accept technology, because we live in a different world. But at the same time, he said, while technology is coming, you must maintain your identity, which is our culture.
They call me Patch Lady, yo. I be the first lady, yo. When I be on my bus rhymes, I slim shady, yo. Walk up a fly, mini skirt. Make niggas wanna flirt. Can't touch me, mother skunk, yeah. Full of dirt. If you are Prada and Gucci, yeah, you can lick this coochie. Flip my mini G, face, get cozy with my mini dress. Strip it and impress. Then drive your mini Benz for the mini princess. I wanna be out of jaw, spit rhymes and smoke. Y'all, your wine loyal, just a royal citizen of the moon. Trying to holler back in my dog, Kenneth Karoon. The bounce the catwalk. Hate the girl talk, I be the black. Kill my style, kill on my the rhyme slayer. I burn your my desire, spit fire like Maya. I rock their jewels, got my own rules, no fools. Rockin' Manolos, they forcing no schools. Picture this, he rockin' K-Swiss, he wants his oral kiss. Beg me, say please, give me what I miss. Triple X, pleasure poppin' me, Kessa and Chris. Girl, I'm telling you this, then MTV cribs wouldn't tour any other cribs if they saw this. I'm joking. This is where the king sees all his most important visitors. Well, not really, but just one of the rooms, because the other one is the one we've just been in. Oh, did we go there? No, we didn't, did we? Yes, the big five.
I was younger than her when I got married. I was 2 years younger than her.
Were you 15?
I was 16. You're turning 18 day after tomorrow. My daughter's just going to start university. I just want her to be industrious, to be independent, and to be able to do what she wants to do. She must achieve her dreams.
That's a portrait of my grandfather up there, King Sobhuza II, the legend. Oh, you saw that one of my dad.
These are the shacks where our people live.
Yeah, this is where we live.
Yeah, look at here, my friend.
This is where we live.
This is somebody's house.
Just compare this with the palace that the king lives, and I think from this we can understand, we can have a clear understanding of what's going on here in our country. Is there any kind of peace or any kind of maybe good living or like they used to say?
This is our kitchen where we cook. We're starving.
Cook our food.
We're starving.
You can come. This is the intestines that we are selling. They come from the dam side, you know. These people, they go there and take these intestines and come and sell it here. This is not a joke. This is really life. This is what is happening. You can see this is some feet and some heads. This is what they are going to have for lunch.
Whereas the king is eating pizzas.
The cops came here and then they've taken the liquor for these poor people.
How can you find somebody who's poor? This is my living. Now the cops have come here, they emptied all my beer. Now I don't know what to eat today. Look at my brothers who are suffering.
These people have removed. I can show you a pole which is coming right through to this house. You know, it's just behind the house, you know, which are saying they'll be demolishing. But this homestead has been here for almost 50 years. Now we are ended up being employed by the construction to demolish our own homes.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what is happening.
Yes.
If you can come in the morning, you'll find us there. Yeah, waiting to be employed. We demolish our own homes. And that is very, very sad. We don't know whether our king loves us or our king thinks that we are criminals, enemies, you know.
There's nothing we can do. Police will shoot us. If we try to explain everything, you know, if everyone can be aware of what is happening in Swaziland, you know, everything will just be okay.
They don't want to.
They're hiding, eh?
They're hiding. They don't want to show you what you
hold
how we live.
Just take all this location here, and now we're taking you to where they drink, where they take water to eat and drink, eh? In Swaziland.
Let's go. It's what we drink, Shablane. It's what the community drinks here. Just look at this. We expect you to drink here because there's no taps here.
You can't survive. You will die.
This is where we have our meals on like special occasions, because normally I just get a plate in my room, get them to take it there. It's just not right, you know, to sit with a king on the same table. You know, not that it's not right. I mean, we do sit with him, especially when we're overseas, but like in the house, there's just no need, you know. We give him as much respect as any other Swazi citizen. But he's cool, you know, he's friendly. Yeah.
On the Lord's style of the rich and country. We wish them champagne wishes, Twinkie and strings on that style of the rich and country. All my niggas in the South make money. But my boys on the block, they're whole heat. Represent the dirt road, show the go to you, that's my word. You can tell when we roll it on the block, cause the wheels go sky. Riding around with a bird. Doing by the 100,000 pain turn. Confirm this, I was born to hustle for good.
I think being a king is the hardest thing ever. You never sleep. You always have to wake up and see people. You know, you have to take the most criticism in the whole country, you know, because people think that, oh, you have absolute powers, so you're to blame for everything at the end of the day, because if you didn't really like it, you would change it. I never want to leave Swaziland. I am such a patriot. My brother and I, Indani, we just want to come back to Swaziland and just make it happen here, you know, business-wise, politically, you know, in all kinds of ways, right? And it's not because we are important or we have money or something, but just because of our attitudes, because of the way our mom has groomed us to be, you know, we know what we want to do for the country. People are always saying that children are our future, right? Which means that we are the ones that have to change the country and improve it, right? And if we aren't sent to good schools and get the knowledge that people from overseas have and from, you know, that international people have, if we don't get that kind of knowledge, how are we going to come and help Swaziland? Better if we were all just stuck up in our own lives and not caring about the people, you know, but we do care about the people. It's not as if we're just watching and laughing, because you can't do that if you're human.
I have a kid which is going to university, very interesting. Of course, very proud that, you know, there should, something like this, it shows that the kid has been very good. Other kids don't make it sometimes.
That Africa was like this as well, you know? Just shows like how much we still need to, I mean, it's impossible, well, it seems impossible to, in fact, it wouldn't even be good to reach this level, because it's good to have different places. Otherwise, why would anybody travel, you know, to see the same thing everywhere? But it's really pretty, and yeah, you guys are doing good for yourselves. It's quite nice. It's the first time I've been without security, so I'm not always just worrying about people bumping me or anything like that. It's just free. It's great. It's a bit weird, you know, but I'm liking it. Nice weird.
Mafundu Spunza, Lomfula Tumbata, Lopegi Mkodono. With more than a quarter of this country's population relying on food handouts just to survive, many are asking why their king seems oblivious to their needs by living in such luxury. King Mswati's lavish lifestyle in one of the world's poorest countries has attracted criticism over the past few years. In the past few months, he spent more than £600,000 on a fleet of luxury cars. All this when 65% of his citizens live on less than 50 pence a day.
Whenever you travel as a king, all the things that you can see, perhaps they will know the king is coming, so everything must look nice and so on. But knowing general, when you speak to the people, you can feel that the people are living under poverty line, which in many cases we feel we have to do something. And it's always very sad when you see a lot of them speak about their lives, how difficult it is, how difficult they are coping, looking after their families and so on. And then you see sometimes that you wish to help them, but funds are always not enough.
Swaziland's cabinet has ordered a private jet for him to fly around in while his people suffer poverty and AIDS on a scale that is almost unimaginable even in this continent. Do you want the jet?
We should find out from the government if I need a jet.
Well, you're the king. You're the king. You decide. You appoint the prime minister, you appoint the cabinet. They do what you tell them to do. Do you want the jet?
I don't always say this is what I want. They come to me, they give me advice, and from their advice I am able to act.
A $45 million global express bombardier. Now, that colossal sum means that every single person in this country will pay $50 so their monarch can fly around the world.
I spoke to my brother and I was telling him that, you know what, I'm really gonna miss you guys. The times when we did this and the times when you guys came to my room and we would watch movies and stay up until 5 in the morning. I miss my 2 little sisters. Okay, when I left, I was missing them. And then afterwards, I started missing my mom. Like a lot, like in a way I would never imagine, because most of the time we just don't get along that well. I mean, we get along, but she always thinks I'm trying to fight with her, you know, and that my brother is always in the right, and that's where we go wrong.
I really did not expect to be the only wife. What I knew was that definitely the monarchy is a polygamous institution. That is something that I accepted at the onset, that I know this is how it's going to be. It is still weird, it is. They don't really give you a set of rules. They expect you to dutifully attend all functions that His Majesty is invited to. You need to go out only when you're expected to go out or when it is absolutely necessary. Be well behaved, whatever standards. They don't really set the standards of good behavior, but when you do go astray, they quickly let you know. Actually, it isn't even long ago, there was a huge article, the Rebel Queen, whatever, you know. That is what they have chosen to label me. It isn't necessarily the truth. I don't believe I'm a rebel. In fact, I really adhere to a lot of the rules set for me. It is just that sometimes you can't please everyone. There comes a point where you have to please yourself.
I love it. It's just epic. The Rebel Queen. That's funny because people at school called me the Rebel Princess. I see similarities in us. We both just want what we want and we'll go for it against all odds. And if that's what being a rebel means, then I fully support it and I fully encourage them to continue calling her a Rebel Queen.
The people of this country, they still want to retain the monarchy type of system, you see. At the same time, they want democracy. So now, you have culture and democracy, two different things. That is where the king is clinging. You see, when he sees the numbers attending the cultural, non-political events, to him, those people have forgotten that they drink here.
The Swazi politics have been clouded with traditions. They have been telling the world that here in Swaziland we've got a home-brewed democracy, which does not need the influences maybe of other democracies, which means then it's defined according to the Swazi context, as they say it, which means then, according to our own understanding, democracy is a word which is universal, which is having one interpretation, the governments of the people by the people.
Nations are like babies. They don't just stand up and walk. But now that it is now clear to everybody, we can't take this any longer. By tomorrow, we can mobilize the thousands people and get to the streets, you see. We have that power. We have that capacity to do that. We are not the only one who are angry here. There are a lot of angry comrades outside. You see, recently the government spokesman was bombed and the national court was bombed. So who knows what is going to follow? Some of these comrades here are under surveillance already. Some of them have been questioned on the latest bombings. Now, right now, do they have the will to kill, the will to liberate themselves? Are they convinced that the only way to do it is through these violent actions? It's not their likings, but it is the only available. We cannot go to South Africa and ask for guns. We cannot go to America and ask for guns, but we can creep at night with our knives and kill them. So that is, in Baghdad, you see people beheaded. A knife is about 20 rand, there we can do it. It's only time and proper organizing.
I keep in touch with the people, and sometimes I would also call the people to come. You know, we have a big gathering where we discuss issues, politically, economical, social, health issues, and all other issues which are there. Which needs to be discussed. So with that, because the nation feel that, you know, whatever decision I'm making, I make a decision that they are part of it. So to them, it is important that they can see that we relate to each other very well.
The way that the country is run, we are totally against it. We want a multi-party democracy. We asked for the constitution, but it was now made without us. We don't want this constitution because it is not people-driven. We were not involved. It is stated in the constitution that the king and the queen mother are above the constitution. So this is what we are against. If it is the law of the country, it must be the law for everybody.
A constitution that does not belong to the people is going to be to be used, and that very constitution is like an idol, forcing the people to worship under oppression. Maize Bible ungamasabi nawuphisa inyama namatibhambe tinyamatibhekana nathi asisaba kufa kwemtimba kepha sisaba nobhubhisa umphefumulo phela kuthi iBhayibheli akusho mina mali bonke belenkosi uma uthula ke laba sokuyakhuluma manje
asenibuke ukuthi sibangakhi la endlini bantu sebasaba nekuthandaza kule live siqilateke kangangokuba sesisaba nokuthandaza sidele kuthandaza la bantu basaba nokuthandaza eMaswati. We pay very high taxes in this country, but we get nothing back. It goes to the king. The members of parliament are just rubber stamps. There's nothing they can do for the country. It's just a sheer waste of money. They are there getting large sums of money, and there's nothing they can talk because the king is the absolute monarch. He decides, he does everything for this country. Now we say he should be a constitutional monarch.
When he was crowned in 1986, he found that there was 46 billion in the bank, in the Swiss bank, in the account of his father, in a personal name, not in an official name, which was not King Sobhuza, you see, but his real name, Mkonojeni Mona, so personal. And then until he was 21, when he had to be signatory to that and took over as an heir to not only to the throne but to this inheritance, you know, which was given. And then he signs that account. I understand it's been moved from Swiss bank to Saudi Arabia. It was when it turned about 60-something billion. And it's not in the account of King Mswati III, but in his personal Makosetive, you see. So why is it like that? So that when, just in case we reach the goal, when democracy is achieved, you cannot be able to retrieve that money, the money that belongs to the people, because it is registered under a personal account. That's one other main factor that delays the struggle.
I'm ready for anything. Ambani ningulale, ambani nifakatele, but you're not going to kill the truth. Amen.
I think there'll be war. People will start fighting back. Possibly the very army might attack the king. That is also possible. The day he fails to give them the money, his own bodyguards, the very people who are looking after him, will turn against him.
sithi ngoba sesithembe bozibanibanyana ukuthi batawusilekelela kuthi ke majaha nami ke sekusithwe nje angithi lapha kini ngidonishela ukuthi awuvele majaha senami ngisengiyanivalelisa ukuthi hayi ke Mswati akavalelisani Mswati angeke futhi akwenda into lenjalo majaha ngoba kukhuluma kusebenzi tawuvele kusetshenziswe leto ndlela majaha
The young ones are positive, but the problem, they cannot go to the hospital because there is no money. Here in Swaziland, if you don't have medication, you don't have food, 10 years, it's just a long time for you to live. They are coming from school expecting food, but there is no food. I was asking her, where is the supply food that they usually have here? And then she says it's finished. Maybe on the issue of food, it's another problem. Maybe in New York, can you mobilize food for the children, please?
I'd like to make some comments on what's happening in Swaziland. Swaziland has the highest prevalence rate in the world, 42.6%. That's the highest prevalence rate I have ever encountered in the last 5 years. The mind fractures at the thought of it. It is my contention that years from now, historians will ask how it was possible that the world allowed AIDS to throttle and eviscerate a continent and watch the tragedy unfold in real time while we toyed with the game of reform.
Before we begin the high-level meeting on HIV/AIDS, I invite the distinguished delegates to take their seats for a very short informal segment. I invite Mrs. Bush, First Lady of the United States of America, to take the floor.
AIDS respects no national boundaries, spares no race or religion, devastates men and women, rich and poor. No country can ignore this crisis. Fighting AIDS is an urgent calling because every life in every land has value and dignity.
The Assembly will now hear an address by His Majesty King Mswati III, Head of State of the Kingdom of Swaziland.
It is clear that HIV/AIDS is a serious disease, especially when you look at the number of people that are dying of AIDS. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa alone, more than 2 million people die of AIDS-related sicknesses in 2005. This is like a war.
Recently, we dropped the tassels. Internationally, they view it as a sex ban, whereas in Swaziland, it's a prolonged culture where all Swazi maidens would just remain celibate for a certain period of time. It's never been 5 years before, but the king made it like that because of the HIV/AIDS crisis and because just generally we want to bring back our culture because it makes us who we are.
As people living with HIV and AIDS in Swaziland, we are not recognized. Be it the government, be it the head of state, be it... we are only recognized by the international. As you see, our donors is Stephen Lewis Foundation in Canada. But we have government, we have a head of state. He says he recognizes HIV and AIDS. Where are we? Does he know us? He doesn't. In Swaziland, we have a lot of Swazi customs and culture that makes a woman to be inferior. She cannot take her decision on her own. So if you want to use the condom at home, you cannot say, let's protect ourselves, because he's the one to take the decision on your behalf that I may protect you or not. The king declared in 2001, he said, HIV and AIDS, it's a disaster. Everybody should take caution of that. You should be faithful. If we talk about faithful, we say, stick to your wife or your wives. How many wives from 2001 up to today? Is it being faithful to the others that were there in 2001? It's not. It's not a role model to us. I usually complain and say, the more the king has my wife, the more the king takes wives, it's the more the HIV and AIDS is spread. Because they look at him and say, oh, there's no HIV. Why the king continues taking more wives? We can also continue.
Came was the same day I started school. I would have liked him to come alone, just him as my parent with his bodyguards. He was really apologetic about it. I was happy about the speech he made when he was at the restaurant to the teachers, because everyone was worried by the fact that he didn't really like the school. He didn't want me to be there.
I am sure we are going to be having a lot of confidence that my child is who's going to be studying here. She will be well looked after.
When they left, it was really, oh my gosh. And the fact that I had asked him to come along, but he didn't. I was just upset by the whole thing. When he left, he was like, are you gonna come outside? I was like, yeah, of course. And then when we was outside, he called me to the car, and I was crying. Deep down inside, I can't believe you guys are actually going to leave me here.
It's not our constitution. We don't accept it. The world will know that we were not happy. They were just making a window dresser to deceive the world that they are doing something about it, and yet they are not.
Sende wangiduna nkulu My maiden speech is like his office has got an open door policy. Was surprised to find a closed gate. Nevertheless, kasisho ukuthi si ngemabandla la ngebaholi beti 70 netinhlangano leta benishwa lapha eveni. Sizathu sekuba khona kwethu lapha kwekuthi lo muhla njengoba kulisuku lolwamenyetelwa kwekuthi umthetho-sisekelo utawucala kusebenza.
Angibonga kude lokukhulumela ngakhuluma ngoba ngathi uyokukhuluma kepha kwami ukutoyemukela epetition. Ngiyedlulisele kuye emhlonishweni nakho.
Mnumzane bathumele wena. Ndakucala ukuthi kwenteke lento le. We are consent ngalento lentekela kankona. Abantu bavinjwe egate bangangeniswa. Kukhona isikhathi lapho kuyophenduleka khona.
Adala etingudleni adala ekhatsi eParliament adala ekhatsi eCabinet uve ukuthi sekunephathi uyabona ukuthi labantu ukhona labakuthembile bafuna ukuthatha balithathe ngenhlonipho
ngoba sikholwa ukuthi Jesu uma ninami ndaba nami nathi masinawe ngonyamanduna sikhululekile unikiwe amandla ezulwini wanikwe amandla ngeconstitution lesiphila kini kude lokuphulo kuphambukile silesikhulu konke kukuwe wena unikwa uNkulunkulu amandla bese kuyakulunga tonke izinto sizaqhubeka silo sithandazela umusa losivulele wona lamuhla ngonyama siyathokoza kuwe ayithi
bantu babowathola emathuba la njengalawa lapho babohlangana khona bakhulumisane babonisane ngoba kubonisana kuyasitana
Teach me how to use one, please. Yeah, I've never used one, so teach me. Like that. What's the pin? Is that it? Where's enter? Oh. It works. Hello. Why are you dressed like that?
Because I do a show.
And what's your show?
Cobra snakes, like King Tut.
Where's your snakes?
I have them. I'm finna come back in.
How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
In my spirit or what? How old are you?
You have quite a nice... Nothing.
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18. Hey, is that for free?
Yeah, it's free.
Thank you.
She's a queen.
Oh my God. What in the world is going on? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Ow! Shit, yeah. Hold the tail. Keep your head up one more time. Here we go. Hooba, hooba! Hooba, hooba!
Ah! Only Jesus saves. Be forgiven. Don't curse or sin sexually. I agree.
All right.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
Let me hold that for you.
Okay.
So other people can see.
You gonna be here for a while?
Sorry?
How long you gonna be in town?
mark of the beast. Hell is real. Obey Jesus, not Satan. I like your job.
You like my job?
It's genuine and it's important.
Oh, it is.
Not like everybody who's telling jokes and stepping on the glass and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Have a nice day.
Yeah. You say what's your name?
Hashu.
Sorry?
Hashu.
Hashu and Josh. Nice to meet you.
Josh.
Yes, Colin.
Nice to meet you as well. Hell's real.
Says school, money, travel. You're not in school? You're not learning anything new or training?
I am in school.
Did you go someplace?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you go?
Here.
Oh, you came here?
Yeah.
You're not from here?
No.
Oh, where are you from?
Africa.
See, yeah, it said something about school travel.
Man.
Said you had money too, though. Oh, your parents are rich?
No.
Where'd you get the money? It said money. It didn't look like you worked for it.
It didn't. Did you hear that?
But look at this. It said you felt stuck and trapped. And then it showed the trip, which delivered you, released you. And then you've got strife at home. That's
what?
Strife or
Strife.
struggling.
During September, we have the reed dance that we have right now, led by me ever since I was 7. The reed dance, it's not for the king, actually. It's a culture that's been there for every single king, and they brought it up because they wanted to promote the pride of virginity and of being youthful for girls. And the king, if he does happen to choose a wife, he just does choose one. And a lot of people just interpret the king's taking wives as if he is being authoritative and taking them by force, but it's not like that because, quite frankly, a lot of the girls want to be there anyways. People think what they hear from the media is what Swaziland is all about. But those people, like at my school, they're not like that because they get to hear my side of the story, the true side, because we know better. And they'll be like telling me every day that, oh, did you see the newspaper today? Oh, apparently your dad has a new wife. Oh, apparently your dad bought a jet. And just all sorts of false rumors. The king allegedly abducted a wife. That wasn't true. She loved it. I think Swaziland is the last absolute monarchy in Africa, so of course people are going to want to bring us down and make sure that we're just leveled with all the other countries. But that's not going to happen because we identify ourselves with the culture. Without the king, we have no culture. My mom was the first wife, so the whole novelty of him taking wives is just worn out. The first 3 wives taken after her, that was shocking and maybe hurtful, but then afterwards, having a new member of the family is always stressful. It just means there's going to be a greater division in love, attention, money. When I heard she's formally the king's new fiancé, I was just like, okay. And plus, she's younger than me, so you can imagine what that feels like. Well, I have a fear that the royal family members won't stop bringing different women to the king until he has AIDS. Because some of them are not, no, actually all of them are not anti-monarchy, but they just want it for themselves.
I have a lot of fears. In life, you always fear something. If you never fear, that means you're no longer thinking properly. Anytime you make a move, you must fear that, am I making the right move? That self-fear is a fear that will always guide you in the right direction. The minute when you don't fear nothing, that's the time when things are not going to go right for you.
I've always believed in the power of prayer, you see. So I do believe that I did gain strength from prayer, even if it wasn't always my own prayers, but my parents' prayers and maybe other Christians' prayers from my church and whoever else that loved me and prayed for me.
Has been through situations where where people have tried to kill her. Some people have tried to frame her, saying that she poisoned the king. Apparently, some chef had been paid by someone to put something in the king's food.
He was just sick, you know, because he really ate and I didn't. Apparently, a lot of seers were consulted and they all said, yes, it's me.
All the members of the family, and the advisors, they will tell him that she was seen flying on broomsticks and and that there's a really huge snake at my house under the disco, and we cook for it every day, and it's the snake we use to bewitch people and to bewitch the king not to believe us and everything. And it's the very same snake of which they got the poison from to kill him.
If they gave me a chance to defend myself, they had no chance. I wasn't afraid of anyone. But I felt they were afraid of me because none of them were willing to face me.
The general belief was that my mom wanted my brother to be king, that's why she would do that.
Okay, fine. I kill him. How exactly am I supposed to install him as king? How is that done? First and foremost, there are certain procedures which are followed when a king is installed, and the mother is never part of them. How is this going to happen? I wish there was somebody who was actually going to explain the plot to me.
She's preparing my brew that I want to drink. It's very, very tough for us, yeah. If we have been governing ourselves, we could be organized. We could be having something like water to irrigate this place. This land is more fertile. It's much, much, much more fertile. But because there is no water, there is drought, it's like we're suffering, we're just starving like this. There is nowhere the government material is helping. If it's not for the World Food Programme's food, we could be died long, long time ago. We tried to grow some maize, but it's like it's failed. I have to fight to change the system because I can't live here, because if I can live, what about other people? What can they do? We must fight together to change the system so that everything will come here. We need water here. We need all these things. It's a sitting room. It's where I relax. It's where I relax here. He's having everything. He ends and controls everything. And he's above the law, everything like that, of which is unfair. Because his word is final. Then he's the one who has to decide. Here is wrong, here is right. But it doesn't seem that he's doing that. That's why I hate him. But the people themselves must understand what the government is doing to them. And then the people themselves, they will reject the elements in the government that they are bad to them, that are suppressive or oppressive to them. That's when they reject them, that will mean that they want to overthrow the government.
The government belongs to the king. That is why now the buck rests with him. If his people are failing to deliver the basics, the ones he appointed, not the people, definitely they are going to point fingers at him. If we are going to have a constitution that is driven down the throat of the people without their mandate, that is dictatorship. He is a dictator. We are at a level where some of the forces can't be held back. For instance, yesterday I was prepared to die for the struggle. But today I don't want to die for the struggle. I want to kill for the struggle.
Since you last came here, a lot has been going on. There are several places that have been bombed. Most of them that are the Ngundla system, those that call themselves the government. Now that the constitution is on, so people will just fuck around with everything. They start bombing. The king's got to do something before it's too late. Huh? Because the guys are fed up.
My dad, he's the king, right? And he has so many things to deal with. So when he hears me telling him about, I dreamt that there was a revolution in Swaziland and this and that happened and this and that happened. And he says to me, oh, don't worry, it's just a dream. Deep down inside, I know that he might just say that. Maybe it's because he's trying to keep me secure or something. But I know that it does come across his mind as well.
Democracy is a process. Each time times come about, you find that people will want to see something different. And in these days, you know, the Swazi nation spoke what they want to see. And that's a democracy, because all the people's decision is it's just them who have decided, not the king.
This is the 24th year in this struggle. So I mean, even if it needs dead, so be it. I'm dead already. It is not the issue of bombings, violence, and the other issue. It is the issue of why would the people stand up and bomb? Why would the people stand up and attempt murder?
A king is a king by his people. He rules, by the people. Whatever decision he makes, he is advised by the people. He never takes a decision on his own. There is never any time where any decision which has been taken in the country has been taken only by the king himself. It's always after consultation. It's our Swazi way of life.
We are on the streets right now. We are trying to liberate people from the tyranny of this regime and also the scourge of poverty. But it will be painful when we acquire this freedom, all to find that there is nobody to enjoy this freedom. People will be dead.
Here in the ward, it is full every day because we've got 44 beds. When sometimes you find that we've got floor beds, like now, this is the floor bed. We see more than 44. Sometimes there's no patient passing away. Sometimes you find out that 2, 3.
Bamthathela la ingadi ngale ngawufuna ama-results
Bakutshela.
kude ngaho ihamba bagcina bangangitsheli bathi babone silaba lapha ngibeke past imbebe
But wena ke
angatesta right
Sibofakazi babani, sibofakazi baNkulunkulu ukuthi uNkulunkulu unjani ufanele unguye kude lomnye ngaphandle kwabani ngaphandle kwakhe uthi lapha ayizana ushela ngaNkulunkulu ongazange asake endiwe uNkulunkulu ongazange asake abe ngekho siyababona bonke baningi boNkulunkulu bakhona bobhali bakhona boamedi akakhulumi ngaye lapha ayizana ukhuluma ngaNkulunkulu ongazange asake abe ngekho
The king is pretty much isolated. Not by choice. It's not the king's duty to go around the whole country looking at what's happening in every single place. There are people responsible to do that. There are people who have been placed in high positions all the way down to the low positions who are supposed to be giving a correct account of what's happening in what area. They will come and report to him whatever they like and try and pull wool over his eyes. And that's not just the government people, it's also people in the family. And everyone is just trying to destroy each other. And it's not just the king who's not seeing, it's everybody who's not seeing, because even the people who think they're seeing are not, because at the end of the day, I know that if we don't have a king in Swaziland, well, everybody knows. It's instantaneously more.
We will bleed, comrades, for our freedom. We will withstand the tear gas for our freedom. We will withstand the bullets for our freedom.
We have done marches where they have been dissolved violently by the police. It is that, but to us, we do not believe that is going to shift our focus, that of transforming our country into a democratic state.
Want our freedom now by enemies necessary. Amandla.
I just feel unappreciative and ungrateful, and even kind of leaves me in despair, because it's almost like the past is so rough that, you know, what can I possibly do now to change that? So that's just one thing that we're running out of these days. Hope. Awusekto ngivakashana yajabula yini noma nijabule? Jabula thini. Angithi bathu nane happy. Does he know? How old is he? 10. 10. Just 3. Ngeli hug. Bayati hug kutsini. Bese uyagaqa. Yakati gaqa kutsini. Kwatulula letanda. Nalesa lesingane. Nalesingane. Bese uyangibamba. Yangiyanya akafuni ukungibamba. Heartbroken because of what I've just seen and about the fact that the government just abandons this area. They have so much money and they could just do anything with it, but they just choose not to. We have to stand up. We, as children, and I'm not 12 anymore, I'm 18, about to be 19. I think that's grown. I think it's high time I did something. I am the eldest of the king's children, so for the upcoming future generation, we need to have that sort of hope and give the people some sort of validation that we are going to help them. And no matter what happens, yeah, this country's going to turn around someday, we believe. Very soon, in my time. Hopefully. No, not hopefully, in my time. In my time.